So hello, everyone. My name is Chris Kapansky, and thanks for joining us today for our partner webinar of Wealthbox CRM and PreciseFP. Today's presenters will be myself covering Wealthbox, and we're also joined by Courtney Peak, who is the head of support over at PreciseFP. And let's take a look at today's agenda. So we're going to get started with a very quick kind of look at Wealthbox for anyone that is not familiar. But after that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Courtney, who will talk a little bit about PreciseFP. And then towards the end, we'll be able to cover any questions. So that same Q&A feature that we just used, we can use that to answer any questions. So feel free to type your questions in throughout the presentation. At the very end, Courtney and I will be able to address those questions for you. So as we do jump into it, just a little bit about Wealthbox CRM. Wealthbox is a modern, easy-to-use CRM for financial advisors. We do offer complimentary data migration from any CRM that you might be using right now to help you get started. If you would like to check us out, you could always head on over to wealthbox.com and you can start a 30-day free trial or join one of our daily live demos. So let me go ahead and rearrange some of my windows here, and we could go ahead and take a quick look at Wealthbox. So the first page that we'll be looking at here is going to be our dashboard. In Wealthbox, the dashboard is your main landing page. It's the first page that you see when you first log in, but it's also the main page that you'll find yourself working out of. After a client meeting or after a project, you go back to the dashboard to kind of see what's next. So just to get a general idea of what we're looking at here, at the very top left, you'll see the customizable name of your firm. If we take a look over to the right-hand side, this is where you'll find your own name. And I'm currently logged in as Brad Creedon, who is a financial advisor. Looking along the left-hand side is your main navigation. This is how you could switch throughout all the different areas of Wealthbox. If you want to go into your contacts, your tasks, workflows, etc., you'd click into those sections here. But then directly underneath is where you'll find the recently viewed section. This is one of my favorite parts of the layout here. You're working with a client, you click away into your calendar, you could very easily go right back into that client's record without having to look them up again. But now let's take a closer look at the right-hand side of our dashboard, because this is where we'll find all of our upcoming activities. So right at the top, we see our events, what meetings are coming up. We see active tasks or workflow steps directly in this component. Then we see all of our active workflows, our upcoming special dates like client birthdays, anniversaries, and client since dates, as well as, of course, active opportunities. So this effectively is the right now. What should you be focusing on next? But then if we take a look at the center of our dashboard, at the very top, we'll find our publisher. And directly underneath the publisher is where we'll find the associated activity stream. The activity stream is essentially where you'll find everything that's happening within your firm. So if anyone is having conversations with clients, adding new contacts, assigning tasks, or completing tasks, all of that will cascade down into this activity stream or stream of different activities. Wealthbox does take a little bit of a social CRM approach in some of the collaborative functionality that we'll find here as well, giving you and your team the ability to collaborate and communicate within any one of these activities. So you can always add a reply, we can add a quick comment, ask a question, we can notify one another of that being added so that you get that ping in your email letting you know that someone is asking you a question or someone needs you to see something. But let's take a closer look at that publisher at the very top. The publisher is what you can use to add new activities. So from here, we can add a new note, we can create a contact, assign a task, schedule a meeting, or create a new opportunity. And all of these options are here to save you time. So you don't have to switch into a different section here on the left-hand side or look up a contact just to add an activity. Just to share an example of that, when adding a note, of course, that being the most common activity that you're adding in a CRM, every conversation, you're adding a note. When you receive a call from a client in Wealthbox, it's a simple 2-click process. Now, comparing that to a lot of other CRMs in the market where you would have to click into the search box, type in their name, hit enter, look through your results, click on their name, find the notes section, it's a lot of clicks. So in Wealthbox, you just simply click into the publisher, you type in your note, and then using the @ sign, you have the ability to relate that note directly to the contact. This activates a search feature showing you contacts that are matching what you're typing in. As you continue typing in that client's name, it will continue to narrow your results down. I'm looking for Delilah. I didn't even finish typing in that name. Delilah's already at the very top, so I'll just hit enter on my keyboard and finish up that note. And now I can just go ahead and hit post. And that's it. It's a simple two-step, two-click process. That note will now appear on Delilah's record, on the household record. It is now archived in the system and, of course, word compliant. Now, there are additional items that we can add here. We can structure that note out in a different way. We could dictate the note with our transcription feature. You could plug in a note template. You can even tag the note for a set category. But I'll go ahead and post this note just as an example. And we see that right away, that note cascades down into the top of the activity stream, showing us exactly what it is. It's a note, it's related to Delilah, and it was added by Brad Creedon at this time. Now, if I wanted to go into the client's record, I can just click on Delilah's name here. And the first thing that you'll notice is a quick view slide out before we're even taken to the contact, which shows us Delilah's most important information. So we could see contact info, where Delilah lives, but of course I could click on the contact and go directly into the contact record for that client. Now, right away, what you'll notice is that the layout of the client's record is very similar to what we just saw on the dashboard. So you'll see the publisher at the top. We'll see the associated activity stream, and of course, all of the upcoming activities on the right-hand side. And this all associates with the kind of the intuitive interface that we take the approach with here at Wealthbox, so that you don't have to relearn every single page that you're on in Wealthbox. Once you're comfortable with the dashboard, you can easily operate out of the client's record or the project, and you'll know exactly where to go to find what you're looking for. And of course, because this is the individual's record, we do have a snapshot at the very top that shows us Delilah's most important information. So we'll see her name, we'll see her household, her company, some contact info here, as well as any tags that you've applied. Tags are, of course, fully customizable categories that we can apply to the client. A lot of firms would use this to segment clients, track hobbies, maybe which products the client has with you. A very quick and easy way to see, who is this? What do I need to know before I make that call? But speaking of making calls, let's talk about some of the communication features that we have here. We do have a built-in click-to-call feature. This feature allows you to initiate a phone call directly out of the CRM. The way it works is, instead of you having to pick up your phone and look at the screen to find the number, you hit this phone icon. This feature will then call your phone. You answer the phone, and that connects you to the client. Very simple, saves you a couple seconds every time, but it will also log the fact that a call was made right here in the activity stream. So again, a great way to save some time. But then you also have the emailing functionality here. Built into Wealthbox, we have an email companion tool called Wealthbox Mail. This feature allows you to connect your email server and initiate emails directly out of the CRM with all of the same formatting options that you're used to now, with, of course, some added features as well, like email templates, signatures, tracking. You could even set reminders for if someone doesn't respond in a certain amount of time. But that's just scratching the surface of Wealthbox Mail. Wealthbox Mail also gives you an entire inbox view with the ability to see if emails are coming from contacts, or the ability to create a new contact off of that email. And of course, going back on the client's record, all email communication pulls directly into the client's record under the email tab. So we can always check on the last time we've exchanged emails. We could even set up a follow-up CRM activity, like create a task, schedule an event, start a workflow, or create an opportunity. So Wealthbox Mail is a lot of help here as well in saving time. Now, we briefly talked about some of the different details that can be tracked here with tags. I did briefly point out the more important information of contact details here as well, like the client's address, social security number. But another thing that I did want to point out here, and something that'll connect to PreciseFP and something that we'll be talking about here, is custom fields. In Wealthbox, you could create a custom field as a text field, a date field, a checkbox, a dropdown. So if you wanted to track a client's information of how they take their coffee, or what their dog's name is, or any other niche details that you like to track, you can create that custom field. And creating it is very simple. You go right up here into the settings. So I'll go ahead and navigate to my settings. You've got an entire section for customizations, and you have custom fields on the right-hand side. When creating that custom field, you then have the ability to choose where that field goes. You can have kind of different options of where that field would appear, whether it's within an activity or in a contact. Because it's a contact field, I can choose what types of contacts that field goes onto. And I do have a text field option here selected, but as I mentioned, we have our checkbox, our date, a drop-down. You can really choose how that field looks. And I'll go ahead and create a custom field here for favorite beverage. Now, this could mean a lot of things, whether it's how they take their coffee or what they like to drink. So when we meet up for that dinner meeting, I have that ready for them. And I'll go ahead and now save that custom field. Now that favorite beverage is going to appear on all contact types. That's exactly how I've selected it. But now we'll see how that all kind of works with PreciseFP. And I'll use that as kind of a segue here to bring Courtney back on the line to talk a little bit about PreciseFP and how some of these custom fields can link over. So Courtney, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen here.
All right. So real quickly, just going to talk about what exactly is the PreciseFP platform. So we are essentially a data gathering platform. The purpose of our platform is really to, if you kind of think about it as kind of offloading the data entry a little more onto your clients, really just kind of have them provide you with, this data that you need, sort of like putting this advisor tool, which is PreciseFP, in front of kind of like the CRM, because we're a client-facing platform. It's really just engaging the clients with the digital form, which we'll get into all of that in just a brief moment. We were actually founded back in 2007. So we've been in the business for 16 years now. When we were first created back in 2007, we actually just had one very simple financial questionnaire. And it just wasn't able to be customized or anything like that. So we've really evolved over the years to really be this kind of complete data management package that captures and validates and securely stores your client data. And with our integrations, like with our wonderful partner, Wealthbox, you're able to share that data between applications with the click of a button. So we're going to show how that all works today. A lot of people see, when they do hear of PreciseFP, they tend to think that we are just a fact-finding solution, which, not to knock on that, that is definitely a predominant way that we have a lot of advisors and firms using us. But as you can kind of see from this slide here, we really are so much more. And this is all offered at one low cost. So everything that is listed here is included at no additional cost to you. And like I mentioned, when we were first created, we only had one singular questionnaire, wasn't able to be customized. So with the help of advisors like you all today, we've really made PreciseFP what it is today, and really try to make that experience for your clients as well as you and your business much more efficient by having all of these really important pieces happening in one platform, which is PreciseFP. So let's go ahead and just kind of quickly, let me switch my screen back here, just kind of show how this all looks and feels, not only to you, but we'll walk through how this looks to the client as well. Because again, we are a client-facing solution. So we're kind of this data gathering platform that you're putting in front of your clients to, again, offload that client data. So this is the PreciseFP dashboard that we are looking at here. What I always like to show right from the beginning is our form library. This is where you can come out here and really see the different ways that you can use PreciseFP to gather data. Like I said, fact finders, definitely a predominant way that you can use our platform. Got quite a few different variations here that you are certainly welcome to use one or all of them. And we do have one specific for our integration with Wealthbox, which I'll get into in just a moment here. But you can see we've got things from like lead gen forms to IPS, a service agreement. We've got a risk tolerance. We've got e-signature built into our platform. So if you want to have a client sign off on something like a service agreement or a risk tolerance, that is a capability that you do have. Again, that is included in the cost of PreciseFP for you. Now, even though we do have this library full of wonderful forms, something that we do pride ourselves on is definitely being a fully customizable solution, because these forms are going out to your clients. So you want to have that nice personalized touch to them. So you're really kind of standing out from the advisor down the road, if you will. So you can take any of these forms that we have here. If you are a current user, if you plan on signing up for a trial, you'll have access to all of these immediately. You can come out here and take a look at any form from the library just by doing a quick preview of it. It's just going to nicely show you right here in the dashboard what this form is going to look like. So you can easily see that. But everything that you see here, folks, is completely customizable. So you can change the colors, you can brand it, you can set up email reminders. You can do things like setting a field to be conditional, which we actually have on the Wealthbox form. So it makes it nice. So if, certain sections aren't applicable to your clients, like this section right here, do you have children? We actually converted that to a simple yes or no question. If they mark no, they can move on. If they mark yes, then that section opens up and allows them to kind of focus one section at a time. So there's a lot that you can do. I can't get into all of it today, but there's a lot of customizations that you can do. You can embed images and videos, and again, really just create forms that are going to go out to your client to get the data that you need from them, but also looking, really slick. We've got a lot of advisors who are working with certain niches of clients. I, for example, worked with someone who actually works just with nurses. So he actually had a really cool form set up. It was all matched to his color scheme, and he had an image of a nurse out here, and it just really, it was really cool form. So a lot that you can do there. So let's talk about the integration. So the integration with Wealthbox is actually something that you can enable in the PreciseFP dashboard here. So what you'll do is in your settings, you'll go to integrations, you're going to locate the Wealthbox box, and then you're actually just going to click on it. I'm already enabled, so you would actually see and enable this integration. Click on that, and then you'll be prompted to input your Wealthbox credentials. And that's all that you actually need to do. You're ready to go and ready to use the integration. Something I do want to just kind of point out is it's not an automatic integration, and that's actually by design. We wanted you to be in control of who you want in PreciseFP, because you can actually import from Wealthbox into PreciseFP, and also let you be in total control of what data you want to have go over to Wealthbox. Maybe you have a prospect that fills out a form that you don't necessarily want to go over to your CRM yet. That's why we don't do the automatic importing and exporting. So we'll get into how to export the data in just a moment here. What I do want to talk about and kind of piggyback off of what Chris was saying is there is a certain set of data fields that do map between the integration that are there by default. And you can get an idea of what does map over by taking a look at the Wealthbox optimized fact finder. This is all of the data that's going to be able to be this form is going to be able to be sent out to your client. They provide this data on the form. It's going to auto save for them as they're going along. And then all of this data is then going to be able to move over right into Wealthbox. We'll go through that whole process start to finish. But we really wanted to drive the message, and we get asked this all the time, is can I add more fields to the integration? And the answer to that is yes, you absolutely can. So you saw how Chris in the CRM created that favorite beverage field. Well, now we want to ask our client what their favorite beverage is, so we get that into our CRM. We use PreciseFP to, do data gathering. Let's add that field. So what you can do is you can add that field in the PreciseFP data set, and then you can then add that to the mapper. So then you're creating that connection to the PreciseFP favorite beverage field, and then the Wealthbox CRM favorite beverage field. And then it all comes together on the form. So we place that field on the form. So when the client inputs their favorite beverage and then we go to export, it all just goes right on over. So I'm going to show you all those steps there. I know that was kind of a lot. So let's go into the PreciseFP data set. We're going to access that by going to the settings, and then under application, we're going to go to data set. Now, if you are following along and you do not have access to the data set, note that this is an admin only access. So if you are not able to see the data set, that means that you are actually not the company admin user. And this is something you would have to reach out to your company admin user to do. All right. So what I'm going to do and what I would recommend is, because we integrate with the some of the contact information over there, it's actually those same fields are also found in the client details. So the client details and the family members page in the data set are the two that you're going to be able to manipulate and add to the mapper if you want to. So just to keep it simple, I am going to add the favorite beverage field to the client details page. What I would recommend is I would actually, under the personal details, I would add it here just to kind of keep things simple and a little more organized. So you'll be able to come out here and actually see the fields that are already there. If you want to add a new field to the data set, basically you would just click on any field that already exists. And what you can do here is you can choose to add the new field over to the right if you've got some more space in that row. Or maybe you want to start building another row underneath here with some new fields. You can actually click on an element. You'll see those arrow fields, and that will basically point where you want the new seller element to be added. So as you can see, I added one to the right there by clicking on the arrow pointing to the right, and then I added a new column down below. So if I want to add it there, I can also do some resizing if I don't need it that large. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add it right here next to the marital status. If you do create some cells and they're empty, you want to remove them, you can just click on it and delete it. So I'm going to add it here. So I'm going to click on the plus sign now, and something to note is Chris created that as a text field over in Wealthbox. So I have the same type of element over here in PreciseFP. I want to make sure that's matching. Otherwise, it will not be able to export over. So we also have a text field. I'm going to choose text field, and we're going to call it favorite beverage. There we go. As simple as that. Now you've got that new field in the PreciseFP data set. Step number 2. We now need to go to the mapper, and we need to add this new custom field that we've built to the mapper. What I do recommend is if you are going to be adding quite a large number of fields, get everything done here in the data set. Build, get it all done, and then go to the mapper. Otherwise, you're going to be doing a lot of back and forth. You could do that if you want to, but you don't have to. I would recommend just doing it all in the data set, get that done, and then come over into the mapper and then go into the form. So now we're going to go to the mapper. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on settings. We're going to go to integrations. We're going to come back to the Wealthbox, and we're going to see this integration mapper, this open button. We're going to click on that. This is another way that you can actually come out here. Oops, I did it before on a test. Let me remove this. This is also another way that you can actually come out here and see those fields that we were talking about that actually map back and forth between the integration. So this is kind of a different perspective for you to kind of see those fields. What's really great with this, though, is in the middle is PreciseFP. So it shows you the page, the group name, and the field name. And then on the left-hand side over here, these are the fields that those are connected to individually in Wealthbox. So here we are under the client and co-client. This is all of those data fields that map back and forth between the integration for clients and co-clients. And then we've got a section for children and then other family members. So we connect to the persons area over in Wealthbox. So what I want to do is I added that on that client details page, if you recall, in the PreciseFP data set. I'm going to add it here to the client/co-client page. I'm going to click on the plus sign here in the upper right-hand corner. This field dropdown is going to be Wealthbox. So this is going to show you all of the fields that you have accessible in your Wealthbox instance. So I do have a favorite beverage field, just like Chris created. So now I can see it over here in PreciseFP. I'm actually going to choose that favorite beverage field from Wealthbox. The connection is to PreciseFP. So I've got the favorite beverage field here in PreciseFP that I am connecting that to, and I am going to choose Save Changes. Now, this default value, this really wouldn't come into play here, but this would be maybe something like if you, I'm trying to think of an example, like maybe you want to ask who the servicing advisor is and you always want to have, this person's name. You could put a default value there, and that would just always be the data that goes over to Wealthbox. That's what default value means there. But in this case, I want to make sure my client enters their favorite beverage. So I'm going to leave that blank. So I'm going to click on Save Changes, and now we'll see here that we've got the favorite beverage field over in Wealthbox. It is now connected to my favorite beverage field that I created here in the PreciseFP dataset. Step number 3, we need to add this field to our form template so that our client sees it so that they can provide data in that field for us. let's go back to the library and let's use that Wealthbox form. So I'm going to come out here. I'm going to click on the Wealthbox form, and I'm actually going to click on Install Template. I do already have this installed. So if you are following along and don't have it installed, you wouldn't see this, but I've got a lot of test forms in my account. So I'm just going to start with a brand new form here. So now what that does is that installs it from the form library and moves it into your My Templates, which are just templates that you've installed from the library or that you have custom created. The nice thing is if you want to have, the form installed again, maybe you want to make like a different iteration of it, kind of tweak it a little bit differently. You can do that. You can go back and you can install it again from the library and then just choose not to replace the existing version that you have. And then you've got another fresh copy of it. So let's go in here and let's now add that favorite beverage field that we created into this form. So we're going to click on Customize, and this is going to look very similar to how it kind of looked in the data set, right? You've got the pages along the right-hand side here, and then on the page, which we see here in our personal details, contact details, those are the groups and the fields on this particular page. Where's that favorite beverage field? Well, it's not there because that is not a default field that maps over to Wealthbox. So now what we need to do is we need to bring in that field that we created in the data set and that we have mapped into this form. You can actually see here this little icon. You'll see it in all of these fields on this form, this little icon in the upper right-hand corner. What is the significance there? That actually means that is tied to a data set. We also call it the profile, the client profile, because these fields actually move into the client profile, which we'll get there in just a second. So that means that actually has a connected field to the profile. And these just happen to be fields that do work with, in this case, Wealthbox. Same kind of concept like we did in the data set. We want to get a new field out here. So we can click on any element that exists and you'll see those arrows. So we can choose to maybe pop it in right here on this same row by clicking on the arrow pointing to the right, or maybe we want to build a new row. Same concept. You can kind of resize it if you want to. I'm actually just going to pop it right here next to the job position element that's there. And I'm going to click on it and click on the plus sign here. And then I'm going to choose the import from tab. And then I'm going to choose the data set. And then we're going to, again, just do a search for that favorite beverage field. Boom. Now that is in here. So again, same thing, get everything done in the data set all at once, then go to the mapper, make those connections there. You have to do them one by one, and then come out here, and then you can bring in those fields from the data set into your form template. Now, what does this look like when it goes out to the client? So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go to accounts. Go to all accounts, or you can click on prospects or clients. If you've got somebody who's listed as such, you can click on each one of those. I'm going to go to my test account here. Excuse me. Let me go to, oops, sorry. No, I wanted this one. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead, and what I want to do is I want to engage. I'm going to click on the engage button with a form, and I'm going to choose, so it'll show you your recently used form, your top 5 recently used forms, your recently updated forms, or if you want to do a search for a specific form that you're not seeing, you've got the option to search as well. Here's that household structure one that we just actually updated. This shows you now who you want to be the contact of this. Do you want the primary contact to be the main person that gets it, or maybe you want the co-client to be the one to get it, or maybe you want both. So you can choose both if you want to. You also choose how you want them to authenticate. If you've got a mobile number on file for them, actually SMS would be another option here, but I don't have a phone number for them. So I can either choose to have them set up a password, which is the most secure way to authenticate, or I can choose to have them have a PIN actually sent to them via email if I wanted to. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to actually not send this because this is just a test account that I have. What I'm instead going to do is just going to do the create and edit. And this will actually show you too really how the form looks like for the client, which if you did a preview of the form, it's exactly as it is. You're looking at this as the client gets it. So it's basically just a link that they get to this form. You can choose to send it right out of PreciseFP. The emails that accompany it are 100% customizable. They're brandable. Or if you prefer to just get the link and send it out of your own email, that's also an option for you. And then you can just send it out to them. And the forms themselves, they're tablet and mobile friendly. So they work in those different environments for the client. And they also auto save for them too. So I'm just going to click on start as if I'm the client. So the clients, we're pretending we're Harry Potter here. We're going through. And so some of this information I actually already have on file for him. So when he opens this up, he can actually see that I have this filled out. My advisor's already got this on file. I can go through and I can make some changes and fill in the blanks. You guys on the forums can actually make fields be mandatory so that the client can't skip over that. Really just kind of, especially if you're eventually going to be maybe doing like account opening, really just kind of makes it so you're getting in that pertinent information that you need. There's also validation to these fields too. Like for example, on the email field here, if he just tried to enter in, potter.com, that would actually reject that data. It wouldn't allow the client to actually continue on because it's not a valid email address. So it kind of stops them in their tracks, right? Make sure that they're getting in that proper data. So, down the line, you can avoid things like NIGO, not in good order issues. So I may have mentioned it, but if it didn't, the form auto saves for them. So as they're going along, filling out this information, it auto saves. So here is, let me scroll up. There we go. There's that favorite beverage field. Right? So we're sending this out to Harry and Jenny. We were asking them all of this information. We also are asking them what their favorite beverage is. Well, his is Sprite. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of put that in, and then they're going to go through, they're going to finish it. You would actually get an email alert letting you know if they are completed. So at the end, if you're not logged into PreciseFP, no worries, we'll keep you in the loop. There's also a spot here though let me go back to the main dashboard. There's a spot here in PreciseFP where you can actually keep track of your forms that you've sent out. It's called engagements. We call a form that's already been sent out an engagement. So if you want to maybe keep track of where your clients are at, you can go to engagements and go to all engagements. And this is just a really great spot to, again, really just keep track of everything. It'll tell you, who has started the form, how much of it have they completed, when's the last time an email reminder went out. You can even open up the form from here and take a look at it so you can see what they've done if they may be still in progress with it. So that's a great spot in the dashboard for you there. So let's again just pretend that Harry and Jenny completed their form. Now, where does that data go that they actually put on that form? Let me just kind of walk back to the main dashboard here. So we would need to go into their client profile to see that information that they gave us on that form. So we would go to accounts, we can go to all accounts, or I know these folks are actually clients of mine. I can click on clients. There they are. I'm going to click on their name. And then what I can do here is I can click on this profile. So this would be kind of your point of view now, where you can come out here and you can really go through here and see the information that they added. We tell you what's new information. So if they did an update to maybe existing data, or if they added in brand new data, the profile here will actually highlight for you and bring to your attention exactly where they made a change, if any. And in this case, as you can see, he put in that his favorite beverage is Sprite. So we've got that information here on file. Now, what I need to do is I need to get this information on over to my CRM. I need to get this over to Wealthbox. And this is where that beauty comes in, right? The client gave us all of this data. Now, we do not have to manually enter this into our CRM or even into our financial planning software. We can now click on export and we can choose Wealthbox. Now I already have this linked. They are an existing client of mine, so I already have them in Wealthbox. So I've got them linked to their existing record. So what's nice here is I've got this update, right? I've got this new information. So now when I click on export, that new information is going to land on over into my CRM. Now, if they were brand new, if you didn't have them in your CRM yet, let me actually see if I can find one of my test accounts here to see if I actually have them, because I want to show you what it looks like. Here we go. Here's an example of someone that I actually don't have in the CRM yet. It shows me an option to actually create them as a brand new record. That's right. You can actually, on export, if they don't exist over in Wealthbox yet, you can actually export them and create them as a new record. So it will build the new records, send all that data on over there for you. Again, getting you out of having to do any type of manual data entry. So if I go back to, let's see, where are they? They were my clients. So I'm going to click on, there they are. And then click on I can also do it from here. So I'll go back and click on their name. You'll see the exporting option is also something that you can do here on the account details panel. So same thing, you can click on export and choose Wealthbox. And then it takes about 10, 15 seconds to get that information over. You can only export to one integration at a time. So if you also maybe use like eMoney or Money Guide, it's just a matter of clicking on the export once more and then choosing in that case, like eMoney or Money Guide. So now that we've done that export, it has gone over successfully. If something didn't go over, like if you had data, if there was maybe something missing that's required in the integration, it would actually pop up a message for you here to show you, hey, you're missing this data, or this is why this didn't go over. It would actually give you a message. But I actually didn't have any data in these sections, but I did hear everything went over beautifully. So now when I go over to Wealthbox and I click on Harry, I can see that, hey, his favorite beverage is Sprite. So when it's time to do maybe an annual review with them, I can make sure I've got Sprite on file for them, or not on file, but on hand for them. So when they come in, I know that's their favorite beverage. I've got it in stock in my office for them so that it is there. So that's how you can go through and really create that customization on both ends, get that information over. I would also like to just say before I kind of pass it on over to Chris, we can open up for questions, is the really, really awesome thing about the integration is it's bidirectional. So a lot of times we have advisors use PreciseFP to kind of onboard somebody who's brand new, right? Kind of have them go through, fill out that data, and then get that on over to the CRM that builds them as a new contact over there. On the flip side of that, with that bidirectional integration, what's really nice is this is just kind of what I've seen a lot of advisors do with this integration, is they also use the inputting in. A great example is when you need to do a review with someone. It's an annual review time. What you can do is you can actually do an import in, and this is kind of a best practice too. So if you have somebody that's already in your CRM and maybe you want to do like an update with them, but you don't have them in PreciseFP yet, don't manually create them out here. You can actually come out here and click on the plus sign, click on import, choose Wealthbox, and do a search for your client or prospect from Wealthbox and bring them into PreciseFP. That's going to do a couple of things for you. That's going to bring over the data that you actually have on file for them over in Wealthbox into PreciseFP. And then when you go to send out the form, like we saw in that example, it actually pre-fills out with their data. So that makes less work for your client. They're not having to go through and fill out a blank form every single time. That's so frustrating being a client. I always throw out this example, but it is so darn frustrating. I take my kids to the dentist every 6 months, right? Every 6 months, they hand me that dreaded iPad. I hate it so much because I have to fill out my name, my address, my kid's date of birth. This information hasn't changed, and it's not pre-filled out. It is not pre-filled out for me. And I've got 2 kids, so I have to do the first child, and then I have to go through and I have to do it again. So that information isn't there, and it's very time consuming and it's very irritating as a client. So this reduces that. this significantly reduces and eliminates that frustration, that pain point for your client by using that bidirectional integration to your advantage and also for your client's benefit. Bring over the data that you have. And then as you saw, if they make updates or add brand new data in PreciseFP, we're going to highlight that for you and show you exactly where they made a change, if any, so you can review that before you send it over. So you know, they changed their mobile number or they changed their address. You know, that's going to now be new information over in your CRM as well. So I will go ahead and end there. I do want to just also say, if you are brand new, haven't signed up for PreciseFP, want to take it for a test drive, we do actually offer a free trial period. And for our Wealthbox users, you can we'll extend that to a 30 days. So from our standard 7 days, you would actually get a full 30-day trial. So that offer never expires. So if you're watching this in the future, go ahead and reach out to us, sign up. Once you get activated, you can actually shoot us a chat message letting us know and that you're a Wealthbox user and you saw this webinar, and we'll go in and we'll extend that to 30 days. So you have full access during the trial period. Nothing is disabled. And then if you decide it's going to be a good fit, you would just roll into a paid subscription, no contract involved at all. All right, that was it for me. With that, Chris, I will go ahead and stop so we can start answering some questions.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was, as always, very informative. This is as much as I've seen of PreciseFP. So seeing some of that, it's a lot easier than I was originally expecting it to be. I'm not sure why, but that's amazing. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and participating in these questions. It's always awesome to see that participation. And Courtney, as always, thank you and your team. I personally am a huge fan of PreciseFP. I can't stop talking about it. But thank you so much for doing this with us today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you as always for having us. We appreciate it.
Awesome. And again, everyone else that has joined, thank you all very much for participating and joining in. We'll be looking forward to working with everyone at a later time. Thanks. Take care.